Back here on HQ's Spotlight. So Kevin Durant to the Rockets is now officially official, and it turns out it's a 7-team trade, the first transaction like that in league history. So besides the main teams involved in that trade, in the Suns and the Rockets, there's the Warriors, Lakers, T-Wolves, Nets, and the Hawks. So when it's all said and done, this trade includes 6 players and 13 draft picks. So if you break it all down, here's how it all played out, of course, with the Suns getting the most here in Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Kaman Malawach, Rasheer Fleming, Kobe Brea, and so forth. This is, of course, with players and the draft. So all of this had to happen for KD to go to Houston. So there's a lot of players, a lot of draft picks, a lot of teams that are involved here in this historic 7-team trade. But we are going to focus in only on the Rockets and look ahead to them for a season outlook. And for that, let's bring in our NBA analysts, Sam Quinn and John Gonzalez. Gentlemen, always great to see you. So now that trade is finally official, we knew it was kind of coming for some time, right? We have had some time to reflect. So John, I'll kick it to you first here. Your overall thoughts, feelings, now that we've seen this go down, your overall takeaways when you see that entire list of everybody that was involved.
Yeah, I mean, a big trade, mostly just moving pieces around the board here. For the Rockets, that's the big thing. I mean, the Rockets have had just a remarkable offseason, Jacqueline. Sam and I had talked about this on the Beyond the Arc podcast previously, where I thought, they were the number 2 seed last year. They've got this young core. Maybe they should just go the OKC route and just wait on this thing a little bit. Wait till the trade deadline, then see if you want to add a piece. Man, I was wrong about that, Jacqueline. I love what they've done. They add Kevin Durant. They add Dorian Finney-Smith. They're instantly better right there after moving off of Jalen Green, who's a bucket, but is also extremely inconsistent. And Dylan Brooks, that's net win for the Rockets. Now, they also added Clint Capella as their third center, and to do so, they had to move off of Cam Whitmore, who's gone to the Wizards. I personally would rather have Cam Whitmore than Clint Capella as my third center, but these are, like, when we're talking about guys who are going to be at the end of the bench here for a Rockets team that has designs on potentially winning the Western Conference. It's hard for me to really quibble with that. That's like a minor issue that I would have with them. But man, the Rockets are absolutely loaded, and Oklahoma City is going to go into this year as the number 1 favorite. Obviously, they're the defending champions, but I think the Rockets are right there with them.
Yeah, the more I look at everything the Rockets did, the more I love just all of it, right? Today it comes out that the 4-year deal that Dorian Finney-Smith signed is only guaranteed for 2 years. Oh, so that takes the sting out of it, right? He's an older player, but you don't have to deal with the back end of that contract. I hate losing Cam Whitmore, just like John said, but he wasn't going to play, right? There weren't minutes for him. So if you can turn him into somebody in Clint Capella that you can get good usage out of in the regular season, they're going to run a lot of those 2 big lineups. They're going to hopefully keep Steven Adams healthy and rested throughout the regular season. I think that makes sense. I right now have them as a pretty firm number 2 in the West. Denver maybe right behind at number 3. But the really great thing about this offseason for them is they didn't have to really pick a direction between all in right now versus going that Oklahoma City route. They didn't have to surrender their best assets. They still have those future Phoenix picks. They still have Amin Thompson. They still have Alperen Şengün. If they want to make another significant trade, they can, but they might not need to because they might just have a 60-win team as it is. So I think there's a real chance they win the West. But it's not going to be a flash in the pan. They're going to be competing with Oklahoma City and San Antonio for years to come. This isn't just one of the best teams right now. It's one of the best run organizations in all basketball.
Sam, Dorian Finney-Smith and I were at Florida at the same time, so I'm just going to forget that you called him and smack down to reality for me. All right, let's take a deeper dive into the state of the Rockets, right? So they're coming off their first 50-win season since the 2018-2019 season. They haven't won a playoff series. It's been a little bit, right? They signed Ime Udoka to that contract extension. So, Sam, how much pressure is Ime Udoka under with this new revamped roster? Everything we just talked about, there's a lot of excitement and expectation. So how much pressure is he under, in your opinion?
Honestly, not much, right? Remember, the Knicks tried to hire him, and the Rockets said, no, we're not going to let you do that. Steven Silas got 3 full years in Houston, never won more than 22 games. Well, this is going to be Ime Udoka's 3rd year, and he's already succeeded much more than Silas did. I think they're looking at this partnership with Ime Udoka as a really long-term thing. They're hoping he can be their coach for maybe the next decade or more, and given how well he's done in that position, I have no reason to believe that won't be the case. He's one of the best coaches in the NBA. He's reasonably young. They're just going to keep him, and they're going to roll with this, right? The pressure starts if they maybe don't have as much playoff success in the next couple of years that you would like to see. But for now, I mean, he's about as secure as any coach in basketball.
Yeah, Sam is right about him being secure and there not being much pressure in that. But I would take a little bit of umbrage on pressure overall, because when you have a team this loaded, there's going to be pressure, even if it's just from himself, to make this team get deep into the postseason, make a run in the Western Conference. The Western Conference is loaded, Jacqueline. I mean, like when you go out and you get Kevin Durant and Dorian Finney-Smith and Clint Capella, and you've got an ascendant Amin Thompson, and Alperen Şengün has looked fantastic. I mean, this team, Tari Eason, when you get into the bench, they're really deep and really talented. And when you're trying to compete in the Western Conference and unseat the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think that does come with a measure of pressure. And I'm sure that Ime Udoka would tell you that he wants not to be a first-round exit like they were last year. They were the number 2 seed. That's great. They're playing with the house money a little bit. But moving forward, eventually people are going to look around and go, okay, this roster is really good. Now, what have you done with it? So I think there is a little bit of pressure there. Maybe not as much pressure, though, as Sam having to dig out of that hole that he just had there, where he said that you and Dorian Finney-Smith were older players. I would never say that, Jacqueline, but that's something, Sam is going to have to atone for.
It's all right, Sam. Maybe by the end of this segment, I'll forgive you, but it did sting just a little bit. I'm like, is he that old? Yeah, we're the same age, basically. All right, so Houston, you talk about this squad as being loaded. They have a young core. They just, signed their head coach, Ime Udoka, to that contract extension. They get that superstar vet and Kevin Durant. It all looks promising and great, right? But, John, what are some more needs, some voids that they do still need to fill there in Houston?
Yeah, I puzzled over this one because honestly, they're really loaded. I mean, like this team doesn't need a whole lot. As Sam mentioned, maybe they make another move on the margins here. Just looking at the roster, Fred VanVleet is their only true point guard. Maybe that means we're going to get more point Amin Thompson. I really love that. You are talking, Jacqueline, to two of the foremost Reed Sheppard fans in the world. Outside of the Sheppard family, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find two guys who like Reed Sheppard more. He didn't play much last year. Maybe this is a plan where they decide, okay, we're going to dust off Reed Sheppard, give him the keys a little bit more, but he's going to maybe run some of that second unit. So on the just on the surface, as I look at their roster, I would think maybe a backup point guard. And then, of course, the answer for every team everywhere in the NBA is more shooting. Everybody can always use more shooting. But honestly, Jacqueline, like as in terms of rosters in the NBA go, aside from like Oklahoma City, I look at the Rockets and I'm like, they're good. They are good. This is a fantastic job that they've done. Yeah, the lead into this segment was all about Kevin Durant and the trade and everything that had to happen for KD. And in the commercial break, you guys were talking about Reed Sheppard. So just to support your statement there that you guys are the biggest fans, let's talk about the season prediction, right? Because it's funny when you look at the East and the West. The East is wide open, right? That's what we're saying. But the West is very competitive. It's kind of like a gauntlet. You got to compete with OKC, Denver, the Timberwolves, just to name a few. So, Sam, what is your season prediction for this Rockets team as it's constructed right now?
High 50 wins and number 2 seed in the Western Conference, right? What they'll do in the playoffs probably is going to come down to health. It's going to come down to matchups. We'll see if they wind up with Denver in the second round, if they wind up with whoever. So I don't want to say, oh, they're absolutely making the Western Conference Finals, but I think they're so well positioned for the regular season, given how deep they are, that I would be pretty surprised if they weren't a top 3 seed in the West, right? I think that's the reason you go the extra mile and you bring in a Clint Capella, is now you can afford to be a little bit stingier with minutes for your other bigs. John and I have been spreading the gospel of Reed Sheppard for months now. I think he's going to come in and have a huge season as a backup, really give them the shooting that they need. So no real holes here. I'm really excited for this team. I'm going to go number 2 seed in the West, and the sky's the limit from there.
Yeah, I'm going to echo Sam here. I'm going to go number 2 seed. Again, I think Oklahoma City, obviously the defending champions, they're going to be the favorites in the Western Conference next year. But the West, Jacqueline, as you noted, is so loaded, right? I mean, we're looking at 13, maybe 14 teams with real designs on trying to make the postseason. I just think that the Rockets are a cut above most of them. I think, the Nuggets are probably right there behind them. But I'll go with the 2 seed again for the Rockets for the second straight year. And then Sam wanted to stop short of, saying that they're going to make it to the Western Conference Finals. I'm not. I'm going to say they're going to make it to the Western Conference Finals. In fact, I've even been test driving this idea of like Can I interest anybody in a Houston Rockets, Atlanta Hawks NBA Finals next year? I'm really high on both of these teams and what they've done in this offseason. So I just absolutely love the Rockets. They're going to be my #1 League Pass team. Tap it into my veins, Jacqueline. They're going to be so fun.
All right, will do, John, Sam. We certainly appreciate it. The guys are sticking around, though, because we have more to discuss in the NBA. Some more superstars that could be on the move. That's coming up. But in the meantime, getting a look at the odds to win the West. The Thunder, they're the favorites to repeat at +160. Then we have the Rockets and the Nuggets at 5-1.
Yeah.